I've been playing since I was really small, you know. My dad played, and my grandfather played, so I was kind of in the family all the time. I mean, they even had a guitar hanging over the crib. As soon as I was big enough to do anything with my hands or anything, my dad would always have me sitting down the strumming end of his guitar, and he'd play chords, even when I was really little. Every Friday night down in my parents' basement, all the neighbors would gather, and my dad would play, or my granddad would play, and then everybody would sing the popular songs of the era. So, you know, I was immersed in that from the time I was small. So performing is very natural to me. I feel more natural on stage than I usually do, you know, in real life. So. I think it's just over 10 years now. We put it together. We were in New York City. We were a band in the city, and we did a lot of things with the last band. We were the first band to get into first American band to get into mainland China since the revolution. We got in there in Shanghai when there was only one hotel in the whole city. Now it's a huge city.
They bought all our merchandise.
And then with the last band, a lot of the labels were interested in that band. We played Carnegie Hall with an orchestra, and they did 5 of our original songs. That was that was pretty cool. We did a lot of crazy things like that with that band. That drummed up a lot of, we were like in Time Magazine and all that. So that's why the labels were very interested in us. We were this kind of quirky thing. But when the labels came after us, we disappeared. We left the city. We stopped playing for a couple of years and went back to, Tink and I went back to school full time to learn how to do, it was just the change over to digital stuff. It was just beginning. You don't need a record label to front you money for a video soon anyway. Back then you still did, But we won't need a record label to, front money for an album or a video. Or, now that seems silly to talk about that, but in those days, you were a slave to all that stuff because you needed backing to do anything on this stuff. So we went back to school, just a community college, and we were there for a couple of years. Didn't play at all, and we met our drummer, who was one of our graphic design professors.
Give me your picture.
Yeah, anyway, I played with some of the best drummers in the world. When Tony played, who didn't play anymore, he was amazing. It's kind of a combination between Keith Moon. He's got all the crazy stuff on top that Keith Moon had. And he's got feet like John Bonham from Led Zeppelin. He plays very heavy. That was like my 2 favorite drummers. He was like a merge. And he was this guy who said, oh, no, I don't want to play. And I gave up playing. I sold my drums and I bought a computer. But I finally kind of tricked him into playing some cuts of stuff I had just written. I was thinking about putting the band back together at that point. And he laid down the whole first album with me, and then Sharky was waiting for me to play. So after Tony and I laid down the like the basic drum and bass parts for the album and some other instruments. Sharkey came back in and then he laid his parts down. Tink laid her parts down, played her first cello parts on that album. She had never played cello before, and she decided that if we made this thing, the Circus, the Slambovian Circus, she was going to play cello and accordion in it, and she's a flautist. She took one cello lesson and then came laid down the tracks for A Good Thief Tips His Hat, if you hear those cello parts. Plays good enough for us, or she really added a lot. And she's always picking up different instruments, theremin, bagpipes, Ilian pipes, or different things. She tries a lot of things out all the time. She's pretty fearless at trying things, And she'll get on stage and play them even before she learns how to play them. So that's good. That helps a lot. My two sons played in the band. Chen, my oldest son, he was the bass player for 5 years in the band. We never used to have a bass player. He came and played at bass for 5 years with us. And he was awesome. And then Orion came in for about a year and played keyboards while Chen was playing bass. And then Chen got accepted into SVA, and we said, jump, man. So he jumped to SVA, and Orion learned all the bass parts in about a week. We went out and did a gig with him as the bass player and the keyboard player. So that was cool. He's a great musician. And I realized that I've been causing all this rain. What inspired the name was, I've always been very serious about the music, in the past. I read a lot of stuff, but I always I used to get tangled up in it a little bit too much. And I wanted a name that sounded really stupid and fun and huge, just absurd, So, I had been thinking about that. I didn't know where that was going to go, But I was walking in the woods one day, and then I just heard that whole name. Wrote it on an index card, and I showed it to the band. They thought it was funny, and we thought, we'll just use it in the beginning, to just make a little bit of a buzz, nothing serious. And then we got so much press from it. And the New York Times, in the first year that we were in existence, they did 2 articles in the New York Times in 1 year. To get in the New York Times once is insane, but 2 times in 1 year we were in the New York Times. Seeing this video, you can find us and you can go to Slambovia.com and see all our videos and music, etc., etc., etc. A lot of the songs come down relatively complete sometimes. Sometimes there'll be a piece of music that I hear in my head, and then, I'll start to see a picture of what it is, and then the lyrics just flow down. So it's well, I always wanted to just do graphic arts. I really, it's funny for me. I never, because music is just such a natural part of what I do. I never really tried to pursue music. It always just chases me. anything that's got to do with storytelling, I think is important because there's a lot of invisible stories that need telling.